So now we're going to be talking about conjunctivitis. So let's have a bit of introduction about conjunctivitis. So conjunctivitis, or also known as the pink eye, is an inflammation of the conjunctiva, or the transparent mucous membrane, which is covered with a whitish part of our eyes, or mainly known as the sclera. It also affects the inner surface of our eyelids. So this may be infectious or non-infectious. For infectious, it could be bacterial or viral, and for non-infectious, it could be by allergic or irritant. So now I'm going to be discussing to you about the pathophysiology of bacterial and viral conjunctivitis. So to start it, we're going to be looking out for the risk factors. So we have here for the non-modifiable and modifiable risk factors. So for the non-modifiable risk factors, we have here age. It can vary whether it is for children or adults, and it can also happen to patients with history of eye infection. It can also be congenital or by anatomical eye abnormalities. This may include with persons which are immunosuppressant or has presence of disease which are chronic. Now for the modifiable risk factors, we have here poor hygiene practices of a person or sharing of contaminated items or personal items such as towel or any items that are used for the eyes or involve the eyes, frequent eye rubbing, and exposure to allergens or irritants. So to start, there would be an exposure to the pathogens. So these pathogens mainly be viruses or bacteria. So as the pathogens are being exposed to a person, it will now enter to the conjunctiva or the conjunctival sac. So first, for the viral infection, the virus will now bind to the receptor of the conjunctival epithelium or the epithelial cells, and these cells will now enter via endocytosis. When we say endocytosis, it is the ability of the cell to adapt to its external environment. As it enters via endocytosis, there will be a viral replication that will happen. So this replication or the virus replicates from the internal factor or the person itself. A medication that can be used to prevent its replication is ganciclovir eye gel or an antiviral eye gel. So as viral replication happens, the cell will now undergo cellysis or cell death. So for bacterial infection, there would be an adherence to the conjunctival epithelium or the epithelial cell. So bacteria will now bind to the host cell receptors. As it binds into the host cell receptors, there will be an attachment to the host cell, which making it stabilize. As it now stabilize, there would be a replication also, or the bacteria will now multiply to the conjunctival surface. So for this multiplication or replication of the bacteria to prevent it, a levofloxacin eye drops can be used, which is an antibiotic eye drop. So if it continue to multiply, it will now evade into the host's defenses, and there will be a release of toxins and enzymes to the damaged epithelial cells. And as the cells undergo cell death and there will be a release of damaged epithelial cells, there will be a breakdown to the epithelial cell barriers. So as the barriers have been damaged and broken down, there is a cellular damage that occurs. So the damaged conjunctival cells will release a PAMP. So these immune cells will use the PRRS to detect the PAMP and now be recognized by the immune cells. diagnostic procedure from this kind of mechanism of action. Other laboratory tests can be used, such as serological tests or blood tests, which increases the IgG and the IgM antibodies. So to that, it will lead into the activation of our immune system. From the activation of the immune system, there would be a release of pro-inflammatory mediators such as the histamine, and the chemokinase will trigger its release. So from the release of its mediators, the cytokines will induce a vascular response, which will lead into vasodilation and increase vascular permeability. From the vasodilation that happens, this will manifest in the signs and symptoms of redness within the eyes. This redness, if manifested to a patient, a diagnostic procedure can be used, such as PCR or rapid antigen test, to verify conjunctivitis. A medication can be used to subside redness, such as dexamethasone eye drops or a corticosteroid eye drop. So, as vasodilation and increased vascular permeability happen, the fluids from it will leak into the capillary walls into the conjunctival tissues. For pro-inflammatory mediators leading or reaching the nerve endings, a receptor can be activated so that the pro-inflammatory mediators would bind to the nerve ending receptors. This will now transmit a signal to the brain that will manifest into a response to its reflex of a person. These reflexes can be shown as itching or irritation, and the fluid leaks from the capillary or conjunctival tissues will lead into having watery discharge from the eyes. So from these signs and symptoms that has been mentioned, it can be present to viral conjunctivitis. So to that, a nursing diagnosis such as impaired comfort related to ocular irritation and excessive lacrimation or watery discharge can be diagnosed, and its management to this is we educate the patient to avoid rubbing their eyes so that it will not worsen the inflammation, applying a cold compress to relieve the itching or irritation, and we administer the prescribed medication as mentioned, such as dexamethasone eye drops. We maintain a proper hand hygiene and eye hygiene by gently cleaning the discharge with the use of sterile saline or wipes, and we educate the patient to avoid any known irritants or allergens. Now, we move on to chemokinase trigger release. As the chemokinase triggers a release from the immune system activation, IL-8 will now attract the neutrophils or NWBCs. These neutrophils will now exit via diapedesis and will now phagocyte the bacteria. As phagocytosis of the bacteria happen, there will be a release of ROS and lysosome enzymes, which now leads into formation of the pus. This pus can be a purulent exudate rich in dead cells and bacteria. So as these purulent exudates reach dead neutrophils and bacteria, can be manifested with a thick mucopurulent discharge from the eyes, which is commonly greenish to yellow in color. And if these exudates and pus dried overnight, it will lead into eyelid crusting. So these purulent exudates can be diagnosed by using of PCR or polymerase chain reaction and conjunctival scraping and culture to check for the presence or the type of bacteria, for antibiotic testing or for testing any resistance from signs and symptoms, the nursing diagnosis for this is risk for infection related to accumulation of mucopurulent discharge and eyelid crusting. And a nursing management can be gently cleanse the eyelids with warm sterile saline and as prescribed to soften and remove any dried or eyelid crusting from the eyes. We teach the patient also for proper hygiene before and after touching our eyes and apply any prescribed antibiotics, eye drops or ointment as ordered to manage the bacterial infection. Now we instruct the patient not to share any personal items involving the eyes to avoid cross-contamination, and we monitor in the affected area if symptoms subside or has worsened. So all in all, bacterial and viral conjunctivitis will now happen based on the signs and symptoms that has been manifested during its mechanism of action. Now, if these signs and symptoms did not subside or any of the signs and symptoms or management has not been done, if persistent inflammation will happen, it will complicate with diseases like vision loss, keratitis, scarring, or corneal ulcerations.